I'm Eric Hanselman, Principal Research Analyst for the 451 Research arm of S&P Global Market Intelligence. My research areas include information security, networking, and infrastructure. The challenges with using traditional security tools in DevOps and cloudy environments is that they lack visibility and context. They don't understand the more complex environment that operates in cloud. If we think about what's necessary to really secure those environments, being able to scan vulnerabilities for individual workloads is good, but not completely sufficient when we think about the full security assessment that's really necessary to manage the more complex environments that cloud-native applications, microservices architectures really present. When we think about operational models and the tools that are involved, security assessments have to understand how to work with those as well. So infrastructure as code frameworks like Terraform and CloudFormation, and more complex constructs as Kubernetes and even serverless require fundamentally different capabilities to understand what's taking place within the environment itself. To be able to understand up front what's about to be deployed and be able to assess those deployment templates before they actually get pushed out. This is an approach that can help the organization really understand and react to what's about to be deployed in ways that prevent the full set of alerts that are taking place from deploying capabilities that don't meet policy. That's a fundamental operational efficiency that the cloud offers, but security tools have to be able to manage that. They have to be able to integrate with the full tool chain of a DevOps pipeline to be able to ensure that what's actually being pushed out is meeting those security policies and those requirements. Traditional security tools really are unsuitable to those cloud capabilities. They're blind to a lot of the capabilities that exist in the tool chains that operate in cloud. So in order to really effectively and efficiently secure a DevOps environment, you need tools that have that visibility, understand that context, and have the ability to assess what's going to be pushed out in deployment before it actually gets delivered, so to assess those templates up front. Well, the three constituencies really are security teams, development teams, and operations teams. And what we're really trying to do is ensure that we can reduce the total amount of work that each individual team really is required to be able to deliver, and increase the security of the environment at the same time. That takes coordination across those three teams, but it also needs to be done with an understanding that there are aspects of each of these different teams' perspectives that need to be rolled into this. If we think about security teams, one of the biggest challenges we see in a lot of our data is that they need support in cloud skills. We think about where operations teams are. They need those guardrails to ensure that what they're rolling out is actually secure and meets policy. And when we think about development teams, they need speed, they need scale, they need velocity. Ensuring that all three of those come together, it really depends on the ability to be able to manage across those different requirements. So if we think about what you have to do from a tooling perspective to manage that, you have to ensure that developers have the ability to push out a sufficiently secured environment. And something that's going to allow them to assess what they're about to deploy before it actually gets out there, so in pre-deployment stage. Operations teams, of course, need the integration to ensure that all of this is actually moving forward effectively and securely. So tools that can coordinate across those three constituencies really are what are actually going to help get this done. And you need to be able to do it in a way that's going to help manage the toil on either side of this equation, ensuring that you're not generating alerts by rolling out infrastructure that's going to alert through security tools, but to also be able to assess upfront and allow developers to learn what's appropriate, what they can deploy. All of this is a matter of ensuring that you've got education on both sides of this and that the tooling that you have supports that process. The biggest consideration is being able to operate at a cloud velocity. That's the biggest challenge. It's ensuring that you can coordinate across teams without impeding that speed that really is the hallmark and the big benefit of being able to operate in a cloud-native mindset. But you need to be able to do that in ways that allow you to operate securely. So being able to deploy infrastructure at high velocity is great. The challenge, though, with automation is that when you deploy environments that have errors, that have vulnerabilities, that have some level of security misconfiguration, it just gets amplified. And that's something that makes the job of security teams much more difficult, creates a lot of unnecessary toil that you could have eliminated up front if you'd done the assessment pre-deployment. So when we think about tooling and capabilities that are really required to be able to operate at cloud-native scale, to be able to do that DevSecOps integration that's building in security as part of the DevOps process, it's a matter of really being able to understand up front, early on in the pipeline, before deployment, what's actually going to be deployed. This has the double benefit of being able to put guardrails in place for the organization to ensure that developers are actually deploying what is securely configured infrastructure. And it means that you don't get those alert storms when misconfigured deployments take place. Because that's something that simply burdens security and operations teams as they have to scramble to remediate what was an improperly deployed environment. If you've got a tooling that can do that assessment up front, as well as being able to look at the deployed environment to understand potential problems that may come from configuration drift, other aspects of just simply operational perturbations that are taking place in those environments, those are the pieces that are necessary to be able to manage this effectively, to be able to really deliver on the promise of the cloud-native mindset and everything that it potentially offers.